Generating really feel good energy right now for yourself, because I think that we have to constantly be asking, in a time where it's like we don't have control over the coronavirus, right? Much as we think we want to, with all of our worry and all of everything, we just don't. But we do. There are a lot of areas of our life where we do have control, and so I think that I love those suggestions that you made for sure. So I want to talk about a few points. Should I just go ahead and dive in, Heather?
Absolutely. Please do. Yes.
Okay,
I
great.
wasted enough time.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, because I like to, I do like to say it's such an interesting time because, you all are being asked to pivot in this major way in your careers. And, for many of you, maybe you've got a brick and mortar kind of place, or you've been meeting with clients in person. Maybe your whole business has not been online. Then plus you're working from home. Then, you're also now a homeschool teacher. And also your own personal fitness trainer. And the list goes kind of on and on, right? And
Yes.
so I think that we're being asked just to, to pivot. It just feels like day by day, right? And I think that this could be an easy time. I have a lot of people saying, does it matter what I do right now? Who cares, right? Does any of my efforts even matter? And I think, yes, absolutely, this time matters. Absolutely it does, right? And so one of the main things, before I start talking about these steps, I'm going to have everybody just take a deep breath right here, because that's something we have control over, right? So everybody just take a deep breath and exhale it. I want you to take one more, even if you're holding your coffee, just take a deep breath and notice if there's any parts of your body that can just kind of let go. Just like shoulders, can they relax? Can your stomach relax? Legs all the way down, just lower body scan. Okay. So one of the things that I like to really remind people of right now is it really is our first time at this. None of y'all have been in a pandemic before. It is your first time, like first timer, right? And if you think back to when you maybe first learned how to drive a car, and how scary that was to like operate this big, heavy piece of metal machinery at very high speeds, right? It's just like scary. You can't do it right. So then you maybe feel embarrassed, those kinds of things, right? It is our first time in a pandemic. So we're in a global, just massive, like, what the F do we do, right? So just a collective, like, kind of what is happening, right? So we're in this together. But what I really want to encourage people to do is to first allow yourself to feel the feelings that you feel, right? There is so much messaging about let's all be productive, let's all keep going. And I love that too. I mean, I love productivity. I love creating things, but I think what's really important is that you're letting yourself feel, right? And creating space and room for yourself to really be in that. If you're feeling scared, if you're feeling anxious, like to I think so often what we can do is to kind of like push that down, just keep going, just ignore it. And many of the women that I work with, whether it's in one-to-one capacity or in my group coaching program, they're afraid to let themselves feel those emotions, right? They're like, I just got to keep going. It'll sink me, right? But those emotions are then in the undercurrent of everything you do. And we end up then stuffing it down like a giant blown up beach ball. If you're like shoving that like under the water, you're in the swimming pool, you're shoving it down, right? Eventually so much pressure builds and comes up, right? And then all of a sudden you're yelling at your partner, or you're mad at your kids, or you're frustrated, and you're all of these things. And it's because you've got all of these deep, meaningful feelings that need to be there, need to be felt. And so even just if you can do something as simple as aligning with yourself in that. Sometimes I'll put my hand in my chest and just as kind of a comfort, take a deep breath and be like, whew, scared, anxious, right? To just like that's okay, right? Just telling myself that's okay. And if we thought about it as like a kiddo needing to feel their feelings, right? It's not always super productive to tell a kid to just shut up and stop feeling. And yet we do that to ourselves all of the time. And this is a big, important moment. So, you know, what I would encourage is even like having a really quick scheduled pity party if you want. Just go to town on guilt-free watching Netflix for a certain amount of time, cry it out, go yell it out, go break some plates about it, but just like let yourself feel, right? So that's something that I want to encourage you to think about. The other thing that, you know, and this is why when I'm working with the women who are in my group program, we're spending a lot of time talking about thoughts and how those thoughts impact your emotions, which impact emotions, which impact your actions and then your results, right? And so the reason that these women are having so much success and, you know, having better relationships, making more money is because they're learning to manage their thoughts, which people don't even realize for the most part is really taking them down, right? And so I'm going to run through a model with you. I'm going to write it up here on my whiteboard so that you can kind of see. Okay, everybody with me?
Yeah.
You got your coffee? You ready to learn?
Woo!
All right.
Do the voice.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, we are ready. Okay. So I don't have like a very high tech situation here. So we're just going to do it this way. Okay.
Right.
So, all right. So this is a thought model. I did not invent this particular model, but it's something that I use regularly with my clients. And so I want to share it all. I want to share it with all of you because it's super simple and you can use it anytime. And even as a trained psychologist, I have to be sure to get my thoughts in order because I can feel when I start to get out of whack. And so I want to help you do that too. So this is just a quick thought model that you can do. And let me run through why it's so important, right? So the C line right here is for circumstance. These are the things that we can't control, right? The T line is our thoughts about that circumstance. So when we think about things we can't control, like the coronavirus, right? Or we think about, that the sun is out, right? These are facts, right? There's a car in the driveway. These are facts. We could go to a court of law and we can all agree on it, right? But then we have the thoughts about those facts, right? Like that's an ugly, nasty car in the driveway, or the coronavirus is taking my life. And a lot of times we can treat those thoughts as though they're facts. And you've got friends who will agree with you like, oh yeah, the coronavirus is ruining your life, right? Or like, yeah, I can see why you don't want that car, right? So we're just trying to separate it out a little bit. Then we've got the feelings, right? And I'm going to give an example of this in a second. The action, then your results. So let me just run through something here. Let's say that we've got coronavirus here in the circumstance line. Let's say our thought is, this is ruining my life, right? And that's the kind of thought that we're just kind of spinning around in, that we're really, that we're spending a lot of time and energy on, right? And then let's say, so then that makes us feel what? Probably like sad, anxious. And then the action that we're taking from sad, anxious is, I'm just going to like sit on the couch, not do the things, right? Like I'm resigned. I'm going to, like sit on couch, eat Ben and Jerry's, right? So nothing wrong with Ben and Jerry's. I love Ben and Jerry's, right? But when we're doing things where we're just coping and we're not paying attention to what's going on with us, right? So sit on couch, somebody just said, nailed it, right? Sit on couch, eat Ben and Jerry's, then your result is what, right? If this is your action, then the result is maybe like, my clients feel disconnected now from me because I haven't reached out. I've been too busy, like just hanging out on the couch and feeling like this has ruined my life. And then also now I feel uncomfortable in my body because I've been eating so much ice cream and I am lactose intolerant on top of that, right? So now I'm uncomfortable. Now I feel like crap. And now guess what? My business is not doing great. And this result ends up proving this thought line. Now it is ruining my life, right? But these are the sort of things that then are leading to that, right? So let's just switch it up just a little bit, okay? So let's say that we're gonna like choose a different thought, right? Because this is within our control. So we've got coronavirus, right? And let's say the thought now becomes, I'm so something, and you want to pick something that you can really get behind, right? So not something that's like butterflies and rainbows if you don't believe it. Like, there's so many blessings in the coronavirus. If you don't believe that, don't tell yourself that, right? So thinking about what can I get behind, right? So I can get behind right now. Wow, let's see. I'm grateful for my health. I'm focusing on my health. I love my clients. I'm grateful for my business, right? Like any of those kinds of thoughts, like what else can I generate around what is going on with this coronavirus, right? This gives me time to work on my business, right? Let's see. So I'm going to just run with, I'm so grateful for my health and partner right now, right? So even if we don't want to touch business, if you're just like, ugh, I'm mad about that, right? So then just like generating some other thoughts, right? And you can use some I know grateful is a term that is kind of like overused in a lot of self-helpery. So if that doesn't speak to you, you're just choosing a thought, right? This is just one that I'm going with. So I'm so grateful for my health and my partner, like, wow, okay. So around coronavirus, it's like, I've got good health. I have an amazing partner, as it turns out, right? So then I'm feeling like, woo, I'm feeling grateful. Maybe I'm even feeling a little hopeful, right? I'm generating those feelings for myself, which then maybe the action I take now is I'm going to reach out to a client and I'm going to do an online workout, right? Okay. So, sorry, my handwriting gets worse as we go. Okay. So then now the result instead of here is maybe clients feel connected. I'm feeling healthy, right? I'm good. Now, the only thing that I did to get this different result was change this T line. I didn't need the coronavirus to change for me. I didn't need anything to be adjusted. I didn't need anybody to act a different way for me. I didn't need my neighbor to stop doing whatever my neighbor likes to do in order for me to feel more peace, right? We can have control over these outcomes that we're getting and even some of the feelings that we're having, right? And so that's not to dismiss any real feelings of fear, because believe me, I've got them. The coronavirus is real, right? This is a real adjustment that we're having to make. But what we can do is lessen the suffering, the emotional suffering that we can create and generate when we're just stuck up here and then taking actions based on that. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So that is one. And, I was supposed to see you all live this month, but now I'm virtual. And so hopefully when I do see you live We're just going to go through this a couple more times, right? So that's one of the things that I want you to really hold on to, is having, like, you realizing your control over your thoughts, which impact your emotions, which impact your actions, which impact your results. Sweet. Okay, great. So good. This is awesome. Yeah. Okay. The other thing that I want to talk to you about, how am I doing on time, Heather?
You're doing great.
Okay. I got a few other things that I want to tell you about. And I released some bonus podcasts last week on all of these. So if there's more, if you want to dive into it more, you can check that out. It's on Apple Podcasts. You really can just search my name, because I named the podcast Brave and Well, but it's Brave plus Well, because I was getting artsy, and then it's hard to find. So I have to change that. Don't get cute with your podcast title. That is the lesson. So the other thing that I'm telling my people, right, which a lot of them are entrepreneurs or they're corporate leaders, is to still make a schedule for yourself, right? And I know sometimes it can feel weird. Maybe you're one of those like free spirits that I don't need a schedule, right? But I do think it's important, because as we're pivoting and doing all things at home, our boundaries can get really sloppy. And then all of a sudden, we're just like not showering, not getting ready, not doing our hair for days on end. We forgot that we're actually an appealing human being anymore. Our confidence starts to tank. We're not feeling good. And we're like, God, why don't I feel good about myself, right? So I think still showing up for yourself in these ways, make time for your workouts, look in your schedule. You can do so many things online, right? Making time for meditation, making time for reading. So if you don't want to get super rigid about it, and do like a 6 to 6:30, read, journal my feelings, 6:30 to 6:45, read a little bit. If you don't want to do that, maybe even just having a checklist that you can kind of go throughout the day, and making it really simple, right? Even having some easy wins in there, like drink a cup of coffee. Check, right? Take a shower. Check. Get dressed. Check, right? So that you're still showing up. And the other thing about the schedule is knowing, and this is hard for, I think, probably a lot of you in this community, is like having a start and stop time for your work. Because otherwise it just gets sloppy, and then it's bleeding all over, and you're working until all ends of the day, and you're feeling like it's just, it just never ends, right? Because you're at home, maybe your brain has associated that with like, I just got to be productive, right? So making sure that you are creating time and space for these other parts of your life, so that you're nurturing your body, you're nurturing that spirit, you're nurturing your family and those around you, right? So I think having that routine can help a lot of us have that like sense of normalcy in a really abnormal time,
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to say is, when Heather talked about, who do you want to be? Right? I love that question, because I think that so much of this time, if we are really assigning this time purpose, I think it can be so meaningful, because this thing, we do not know how long it's going to last, but we can have some say over how we emerge at the end of our cocoon time, right? You emerge from this cocoon. How do you want to feel? I, for one, it would be very easy for me to be doing this result line and be like, okay, and now I've eaten all the ice creams, I've drank all the wine, I watched all the, Tiger King and Schitt's Creek on Netflix, and I'm well versed in all things Netflix, right? But I don't feel good about my body, and I don't feel great about my business. That would be very easy to do, right? So just thinking about, what would I want? What kind of purpose would I want around this time? Seeing as it will be temporary, right? Do I want this? Maybe a theme is like family. I really want to reconnect to that like sense of family, right? Or maybe your purpose would be connectedness. I really want to focus on, maybe relationships with my friends have gotten away from me. I've been focusing so much on my business. Like I really want to reconnect to the people that really matter and have this time be about that. Or maybe it's like creativity. I want to use this time to get ridiculously creative, right, around my work or my business. Like, what do I want this time to be about? If I'm allowing myself to not just let it be that it just sucks and I need to get through it, but if we can assign it some meaning and purpose, right?